What is up, gamers? The Red Dragon here. Wanted to give an update to a video that I posted up yesterday talking about the Xbox One's multiplayer features. So I wanted to go a little bit further in depth with this because this was a topic that started up a lot of conversations. Some people had some good questions. We talked about smart matchmaking. We talked about reputation, but dedicated servers was the one area that everybody was really either excited about or doubting that this was indeed a possibility that the Xbox One games will be played on dedicated servers. So what I wanted to do was walk you through all the articles and information that is out there so far that has got people thinking that this could possibly come to fruition. So let's talk about what Microsoft has been doing for the past few years that hasn't been talked about in the gaming world, because remember, Microsoft isn't just the Xbox One company. They have a whole suite of other items that they offer up as a company, and they have a lot of money that they are sitting on that they invest into new technology. So you can go back and you can find articles going back all the way to 2009 where they would invest billions of dollars into cloud technology. So this cloud that everybody is talking about, this isn't something new. This isn't something just dreamed up that's coming just to Xbox One. The cloud has been around, and people have been looking at this as the long-term future, and Microsoft is betting that it is going to be the long-term future. That is still to be decided, and that will be played out in time. So only time will tell whether or not Microsoft was right, but they are betting heavily on the cloud. Here is an article from 2011 from Bloomberg where they said they spent 90% of research and development on their cloud technology. Now 90% of $9.6 billion. That means that they spent roughly $8.6 billion in cloud technology back in 2011. That means that they are investing in getting this process up and running. They are building data centers all over the globe. In fact, let's take a look at another article. This is from ZDNet. And this is from just a few days ago, June 7th, 2013. And they're talking about all the users that Microsoft is adding to their cloud platform on a weekly basis. But if you scroll down, here's a nice little map. I don't know how old this map is, but it shows the different data points or data centers located all over the globe. And they're talking about announcing more. They said later on, it says 25 new data centers will be added this year all around the globe. Some will be in existing locations, others in brand new locations, and they just announced coverage in China, Japan, and Australia. Now let's not forget, Sony also has their own cloud gaming. They bought Gaikai and they paid, I think, around $380 million for their cloud technology. Now here is a map from July 4th of 2012 showing Gaikai's coverage both in Europe and the United States, and you can see that it's a little splotchy, so not near the infrastructure, I don't believe, that Microsoft has. Now, of course, you don't have to use Microsoft's servers. There's already dedicated servers out there. There's already other cloud technology platforms. So, of course, Sony can tap into this, and Xbox One is not going to be the only platform with dedicated games. That's ridiculous. There's already dedicated games. For instance, any big game that you get into, like a PlanetSide 2 or something, of course, that's going to have its own dedicated server. But there are other big titles that haven't gotten dedicated servers. Like, for instance, Activision says that Call of Duty, they didn't invest in dedicated servers for it because it was so expensive and it just wasn't worth it to them, because they would have to have so many different servers. Now, if you have a company that's coming to you and says, we've already got the infrastructure here, all you have to do is give us the code, and we've got a system that you can get up and running in a matter of no time that accepts your code, then that might, you know, come to an advantage to a lot of different developers who normally wouldn't look at the dedicated server route. But that's not just what I'm basing it on. Here is an article from Wired. They got a behind-the-scenes look at the Xbox One back in April. So some of the things that they saw, of course, have changed because Microsoft's policy has changed. But there's one paragraph that was really interesting that popped out to me. And it says, perhaps the most intriguing, however, is that Xbox One gives game developers the ability to access Microsoft's cloud computing platform. And it says this has a few obvious and immediate applications. One, stable, dedicated servers for every multiplayer game rather than the notorious fragile practice of hosting matches on one participant's console. And then it goes on to talk about the bigger games that you can have about this. Now, this is a Wired article, and I actually did reach out to the author of this article to make sure that it wasn't just him saying that. Are they just giving people the ability? Do they have to rent them out, or how does that all work? So if I hear anything, I will definitely get back to you. But this is one article. Another thing that I've got, which on the front page of VGN, I've got a story that I wrote up, which, by the way, if you want to hear me talk about the Snowden whole debacle of the NSA deal, if you want to hear a conversation about that, let me know, because this is something I definitely like to do. I'm just not sure if enough people are interested in hearing about it for me to do a commentary on it. But anyway, I've got an article that I'll link down below that I've written out to kind of go along with that video that I did yesterday. And I mentioned something else that I wasn't aware of at the time that I created the video, but this was a really interesting interview with Giant Bomb and Titanfall's EA's Respawn. So here we go. This is what they were saying if you watch this video, and I've kind of taken out the important parts and you can go back and watch it for yourself. But it says, when you look at Microsoft and Google are really the only two people who have a cloud, a technical description of a cloud. Now, that's not entirely accurate, because Amazon is the cloud leader right now. Microsoft is actually targeting Amazon and their cloud, so they're going for the top spot as far as the cloud technology goes. Anyway, they said they do have data centers all over the world with tons of fast machines in them that they can slice them up however they want and turn them into virtual machines. And what they have done is expose that in a very awesome way for Xbox One games. So if you live in Connecticut and you want to play a game, we can say, okay, here's the data center that you are going to, because it's the closest one and you have a 30 ping to it. And there's no empty servers, so let's spin one up for you in 5 seconds and off you go. We don't have to provision hardware. We don't have to go out and buy a bunch of servers and rack them in different places. It's just there. It's easy. It gets rid of all the fear of how this is actually going to work. We have that available to us. He said, let's get crazy. Let's say that Titanfall gets popular in Japan. If we didn't think it was going to be popular there and we didn't buy a bunch of servers to put there, we would be screwed. Cloud helps alleviate those types of problems. He says you couldn't make this game without the dedicated server support. And then one of the Giant Bomb, I think people jumped in and mentioned Australia as well. And if you remember that map where Microsoft was building these data centers, they've got 2 that are going into Australia. So Australia has been notorious to have bad connections. They are building infrastructure there in Australia to help alleviate that. So good news if you live in parts of the world that usually don't get good connections. It's a possibility that Xbox One could possibly help you with that situation. They go on, they say, so what do you do on the PC? Do you have to replicate elements of that structure for your version, or do they have something that you can use? And Respawn responded by saying, we won't get all the niceties on PC that you get on the Xbox One. There will have to be some engineering of things. Now, I'm not really sure why that is, because of course the PC can tap into Xbox's cloud just as easy as the Xbox One can. So I'm not really sure how accurate that is, but those are the 2 biggest items that really pointed out to me for dedicated servers. But I do want to make extremely clear here, Microsoft still has not come out and officially said the words, every single game will be on dedicated servers. So until we hear that, I would say, you know, just don't believe that every single game is going to be on dedicated servers. I can't sit here and tell you that every game will be. I don't want to do that. I don't want to mislead anybody. But as soon as I hear something, I will let you know officially. But it does look as if Microsoft, if they're going to offer these up to developers, the infrastructure is already there. They're going to be offering prices that are comparable. I was reading some articles where they said the prices were very comparable to Amazon, who is in the lead right now with their cloud technology. So if they can offer developers a really good price on their servers and the infrastructure, then I would say that a lot of people will take advantage of that. But also keep in mind that any big game that you play, probably will already be on a big dedicated server somewhere. But Microsoft definitely has the infrastructure and locations around the globe, and they're adding more that is definitely going to help out, because that means more than likely you're going to have a location that is very close to you where you will be able to get a very good and fast connection. So post your comments below. Let me know what you think about this ordeal, and do you think all games will be on dedicated servers? Do you think it's wishful thinking? Post below, let me know. Also, tell me whether or not you want to hear about the NSA ordeal. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. If you want the latest news and details, check out VGN, videogamesandnews.com.